So, I haven't made a rant type video in a long time, and certain things have been happening on the Battlefront side of YouTube that has made me want to make a video. So, a few months ago, there was a Battlefront 2 resurgence where the player counts increased and people started buying the game more. And this is because a bunch of YouTubers basically clickbaited people and tricked people into buying this shitty game. And we'll get into like the reasons why they did this later on in the video. But it is like one of the main reasons why I'm making this video is like the clickbaiting of the audience, the taking advantage of the player base, them lying about this game's history and like the current state of the game. So I thought to chime in and like say something about it. So I think it was like either a few weeks ago or a few months ago, the Act Man released a video called the Battlefront 2 Redeemed or something like that. There's a bunch of YouTubers that have been doing this. It isn't just the Act Man in isolation. But I thought to talk about the Act Man specifically because this guy has been known to be like this big time EA shill, or just shill for like AAA games. And he specifically has been like the most popular person that's been saying this shit recently. And I watched his video, and his video was complete shit. I actively was cringing when I watched it. And I have a lot to say, and I'm trying to say it all at once. And my brain is like factory resetting as I'm thinking about it. So, the main talking points that I wanted to talk about was like the game's history, which I'll talk about throughout the video. The Actman's weird, warped version of this game's history, and everyone else's like warped perception of this game, which has been encouraged by these clickbait YouTubers. And here's the thing about Battlefront. The clickbait YouTubers have always existed, but they never really been acknowledged. It reminds me a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5's YouTube circle. Grand Theft Auto 5 has had a lengthy, long history of clickbait YouTubers who just clickbait their audience. If you guys know anything about Fernando, Mr. Boss for the win, scumbags like that, they've gotten a lot of coverage over the years about their scumbag, like, clickbait practices. But a lot of Battlefront 2 YouTubers have been able to fly under the radar. So they've been able to get away with clickbaiting people for pretty much forever. I don't think people have really ever acknowledged the extent of like the clickbaitiness of their titles and the deceptive nature of their channels in general. Them clickbaiting people into basically buying a shitty video game. It is pretty scummy. And the Act Man currently is the biggest culprit of this. So, I have a huge list of things that I want to talk about. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I want to talk about first about the concept of this game being redeemed and why I think this game cannot be redeemed. So, I'm going to briefly talk about this game's history, and I'm going to go more in depth over the course of this video. So this game had the most controversial and disastrous launch in video game history. Fact. That is a fact. This game had the worst launch ever. It had the most controversial launch ever. Of multiple... This pretty much made the scams that they were doing mainstream. Like, a lot of people don't play their shitty, like, FIFA or sports games. A lot of people who play those games are just casual players, you know? I know some people play those games competitively, but in all honesty, I think in order to play those games competitively, you basically have to do, like, the pay-to-win bullshit if you want to be competitive in those games. And EA's most successful video games are the sports games. That's why I'm talking about them. And Battlefront 2 is a game that they wanted to be pretty much the exact same as their sports games. They wanted to make Battlefront 2 a pay-to-win, like, shitfest. What they do with their sports games is really scummy. They basically have what would be considered like a patch, like a minor patch, and a roster update for a new game. That's all their new games are. It's basically the equivalent of like a patch for another video game, but it basically costs $60 to experience it, or I guess now $80 to experience it nowadays. It's basically the most successful video game scam currently, and still is the most successful video game scam of all time. It is completely scummy what they do with these sports games, and they wanted to project that model onto EA Star Wars Battlefront. Their plan was very ambitious with this game. They wanted to make this into a scam Star Wars game. They were willing to scam children and people with shopping addictions and Star Wars fans with this game. But people, unlike the sports games, the sports games are made up of people who don't really play video games. They're not going to care about the scams bullshit. They're not really going, they're just people who's going to combat against it. But let's be honest, those games are basically made for like ignorant, like stupid assholes who don't really play video games. They're going to buy that piece of shit no matter what. And they're basically going to do the pay to win bullshit no matter what. So when this game failed, EA was like genuinely shocked. They thought they would be able to like scam people with this game. And throughout the game's life cycle, this game is like a disaster, because this is also when they started the drip feed bullshit. They went away with like DLCs. They said that they weren't going to do paid DLCs anymore, and they were going to drip feed content. So like we were promised free content, but here's the thing. EA is the type of company that doesn't really want to do anything for free. And there's always a caveat to something like that. The free updates were a complete joke in this game. They were. The updates would only we would only get like one character every few months, or like one map, or like one game mode. It was a joke, honestly. There was like a meme that me and my friend group made where there was a point where they released an update with Han Solo and Lando skins and an emote wheel, and that was it. But like the emote wheel came with like a bug where you could spam like the emotes over and over and over again and do like emote cancels. But then people were getting pissed off that people like Cookie Monster were like emote canceling all match. So they essentially nerfed emotes in the following patch. This is the only video game in history to nerf emotes. But yeah, this game was never ever really good until maybe final patch, and even then I would just call this game like mediocre at best. This game has like a ton and ton of issues, and you would only really experience those issues if you played the game. But if you watched one of these fucking shitty videos made by like Actman or whatever, you wouldn't know that, because all they ever do is say, yep, this game is good. And his comment section is basically just a bunch of parrot like idiots that are saying, yep, the game is good. The game is good. You got to promise us, guys, this game is really, really, really good. And they won't ever talk about like why the game is good. And this is the biggest discrepancy I have with this Battlefront Redeemed movement. It's the fact that when they talk about how this game could be redeemed, realistically, the only people that could redeem this game are the developers. Only the developers could redeem this game in any significant way. Not some fucking, like, shill cocksucker YouTuber who wants to clickbait his audience and put over shitty AAA developers. This is something that Actiman's been doing for many years. He puts over fucking scumbag developers. Like, CD Projekt Red and Rockstar. He was in a controversy some time ago with like Red Dead Redemption 2, where he was defending the shitty like pay to win aspects of Red Dead Redemption 2, deleted that video, and then like shit talked the game in like the most pussy cowardly way possible. So this is a pattern of behavior for him where he will talk about bad online games and he will put them over. And when he talked about this game, he never really said anything of substance. He said that this game was good for the following reasons. He said the game was good because it was on sale on Steam and because there was more people playing it. Like, okay. So this shitty, terrible game is on sale and you could basically buy it for free on Steam. Okay. And there's more people playing it. So it has to be good, right? No, it's not. This game is still bad. So when they talk about this game being good, they usually talk about like complete nonsense. Like, oh, there are people who are playing it. That's why it's good. It's like, dude, people are still fucking playing Fortnite, and the large majority of people that I talk to think that game sucks. It isn't, and that's the most popular, most successful video game of all time. GTA 5 is the most profitable online platform for video games ever, and that game was like a -0 infinity for many, 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 many years. It's only gotten like semi-decent like recently. And even then, like the game is like dying because there really isn't much left to do. The game is so old that there's only so much left that they can put in. And now Battlefront 2 is at the state where like it's been dying for a while because there's no new content, there's no new like anything. So how do these YouTubers get people to play a game that has had like no update in 5 years? The game is still pretty bad. I wouldn't say this game is like a -0. I'd say this is like a 5 out of 10 at best. It's only like a decent game. You could still have fun with like decent to bad games, by the way. But like it being fun and it being good are two completely different things. This game still has a horrible campaign. The campaign is so bad that no one ever talks about it or brings it up when talking about this game. No one ever talks about the horrible fucking balance issues this game has. No one ever talks about the fact that this game is riddled with bugs, and the players are usually so bad that you can't ever win, like, anything, because the players basically make it unplayable. If your teammates are so bad that you can't lose, you might as well quit. And you're going to be quitting a lot of lobbies if you want to win in this game, because it's not going to happen a lot of the time. You'll see, like, YouTubers like get these massive kill streaks or whatever, but it's usually with like heroes and usually extremely overpowered characters. Characters so powerful that you could pretty much just solo the game with them anyway. And they only really highlight the deep-rooted balance issues of this game. That they could basically be like invincible Kylo Ren who hook swings and does all of the cheating bullshit that like super tryhard Kylo Rens do. Aftermath also talks about how that this game is objectively better than the first game. He actually shits on the first game in his video, saying that that game sucked and it had no content. Well, this game doesn't really have content either. I mean, it's got multiple eras in it. Sure, like there's a lot more maps than the first game, or conceptually, I guess, because in actuality, they pretty much have like the same number of maps, right? The first game and the second game. The second game does have more characters, but the first game has like more weapons that you could use, more viable abilities. Like this game has classes, but if you were to merge all of the classes like into one, you would probably have like equal. Well, actually, no. The first game would still have probably more weapons in that game than in this one. And like, yeah, there's like all of these like star cards that you could use, but 90% of the star cards in this game are unusably bad. So it's not like the first game where you had like all of these really overpowered options to choose from. In this game, it's just, I mean, let's look at the assault class really quick. Most of these cards are garbage. You're never using this. You're never using any of these. You're always using like Bounty Hunter and this, and that's it. Because all of the other cards are so much worse or like unusably terrible. This game has like the Friday the 13th problem, where conceptually it has like a lot to offer, but you would never use any of the other options because they are so much worse than like what you could use that you would never test out and use them, like ever, ever, ever. And Actman says that the first game is bad. Why does he think the first game is bad? Because it didn't really have content. Well, that's a fucking lie, because the first game arguably has just as much content as this one. The only difference is that there are more heroes and villains in the game, and that this game has like multiple eras and that one doesn't. The first game has more game modes, more weapons, more usable star cards, arguably better customization. So like he's completely lying when he says that, and he sounds like, honestly, he sounds like a fucking loser when he talks about the first game. He almost sounds like what a EA shill would sound like, because the EA basically forgot about the first game to work on this one. And the player base basically followed suit. It's like, well, the clickbait YouTubers aren't talking about this game. EA isn't talking about this game. Let's just play this one. And Actman just followed suit. He's like, well, I can't make money talking about the first game. Well, actually, he could. He could put over the first game. He could say, hey, guys, the second game isn't really that much better than the first game, let's be honest. Let's go play both Battlefronts, guys. But no, he shits on that game, which honestly did offend me. I do think that is offensive. Because like the first game had a much better life cycle, had way more hype than this one. The drip feed bullshit like was all consumingly bad in this fucking game. And for this motherfucker to turn around and say, oh, this is the first game sucked and has no redeeming qualities, it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You probably don't even play this game to begin with. Like, you played this game for 2 days and then fucked off to play the next fucking, like, Battlefield game? It's like, yeah, dude, I'm sure you know just as much as, like, the next guy does, right? And I'm supposed to fucking believe that shit. And also talking about, like, let's see. I'm going to pull my list back up. I already talked about how, like, his points are dog shit. Like, the Celebration Edition being on sale magically makes the game good and redeems the fact that they left this game to die for 5 years. Like, okay, whatever. I would like somebody in the comment section to try and like explain to me how this game suddenly having like a player base and costing less money is like a redemption when it's had like no content. And keep in mind, this game having no content was like one of the biggest issues that this game had throughout its life cycle. This game has had the exact same issues than the first game, to the point where people basically say that this game is basically the same as the first one, so why would you ever play the first one? Which is fucking complete nonsense, by the way. But, you know, whatever. I don't even know, like, how to respond to that. Let's see. Oh, Battlefront 3. So I haven't talked about the Battlefront 3 aspect of this. So this is the main point that really pisses me off with a lot of these videos, is that people are talking about the Battlefront 3 hype. People are talking about, like, okay, so if we play this really shitty game, they're going to make Battlefront 3. It's like, what? So let's talk about EA for a second, and then we're going to talk about Lucasfilm. So EA does not like Star Wars. They do not like Star Wars fans. As far as they are concerned, we betrayed the EA as a company by not buying into their scam shit. They took us humiliating them publicly. All of these governments getting involved, this, and this happening. They took all of that personally. That's why they'll never make a Battlefront game, because these fucking scumbags like Andrew Wilson and these other corporate cocksuckers that work at that company saw what we did and take it personally. They hate consumers. They look at us as not real consumers, but suckers and losers. You, the Battlefront player, are nothing to them. You are a sucker. You are a loser. You are a guy to be scammed. That's it. You are a number, and that's all you'll ever be to these people. You are nothing to this company. And they will gladly go back to their shitty sports games and keep scamming people out of spite. And that's the reality of the situation that these YouTube. So like when people in comment sections go, well, why won't they make a new Battlefront game? It'll make so much money. Because they hate you. They took what we did personally. They wanted to scam us. We wouldn't let them scam them. And here's the thing. I do not consider EA and DICE like real video game developers. I consider them con artists. I do not consider them real developers, because their goal isn't to make a real video game. Their goal is to make a shitty scam game and scam people. That's why I do not consider them a real company. So, and there's an explanation for like everything. Why did they leave this game to die? Because Apex Legends was making more money, and Andrew Wilson was personally fed up with the Battlefront community, and he forced like the DICE developers at the time to move on to other projects. That is what happened. Andrew Wilson got pissed that he couldn't scam us, so this is what ended up happening. Why do they not make another Battlefront? One, because they lost the licenses of this game. Two, because they're still salty about like us not buying into their scam shit. They wanted to scam us. They didn't want to make a real video game. And if you want to argue that they didn't want to make a real video game because they kept working on this, they worked on this out of obligation. They didn't really work on this because they really wanted to. In my opinion, I honestly think like they wanted to make a scam game. And how do I know they wanted to make a scam game? This game had zero content in it. Basically zero effort put into it, bugs everywhere, horrible balance, horrible gameplay, horrible mechanics, horrible everything. They put like almost no effort into it. And because they put no effort into it, because they had the loot box bullshit, because EA, the company, basically gave up on this game, after like the game was launched and had like a small skeleton crew like work on it, that tells you everything that you need to know, like right there. So that goes to Battlefront 3. So the biggest argument that these people will use of like Battlefront 2 Redeemed are complete garbage. We already went over that. The biggest argument that they have is that if we play Battlefront 2 by Battlefront 2 current day, Lucasfilm will look at that and they will give the licenses out to somebody else. That's right. They think that by playing a game with a horrible reputation, a game that's still pretty bad, will get Lucasfilm, mind you, one of the worst companies in the film industry, to give out the license of this game. Now, you would think that a company that gave the licenses out before to EA, and like look what they did with it. They made a scam Star Wars game, right? And after that, they never attempted to make a Star Wars game ever again, except the Star Wars like Squadrons game, which no one even bought. Like that game like failed. So, yeah, I'm of the opinion like I'm having a brain fart. I'm having a brain fart. What was I even talking about to begin with? Um, oh yes. Um, if EA was the company that they trusted to begin with, why would you trust Lucasfilm like at all to like select a good company? Mind you, Star Wars back in 2015 was super hype. This was when Force Awakens was coming out. And now this is basically like a dead franchise. This is like post Rise of Skywalker, after Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Book of Boba Fett, the Acolyte show. All of those TV shows are extremely horrible, extremely bad. Ahsoka show, like this is basically a dead franchise walking. This is the William Afton of like film or like a fiction, basically. It's just a walking corpse on life support. And the franchise at this point is basically dead, but they could still make top dollar off of a video game, in my opinion. But Lucasfilm is just as trustworthy as like EA, because they're the ones that gave EA the licenses to make that fucking negative zero scam shit to begin with, and they never stepped in and stopped it. They never stepped in and said, you can't make a scam game. You can't scam like this audience of ours that we have. We can't potentially damage their brand. They didn't care if this was a scam game. So I don't know, man. Like, I personally, even if Battlefront 3 were to happen, their people are like hyping this up to like the same level as like a GTA 6, and it's completely manufactured. And this comes into like the content creation aspect. I think that a lot of these people who like are hyped up for a game that'll never happen are misguided and are being taken advantage of. I really do think that. So in a way, I do feel bad for the Battlefront community, because they're basically getting clickbaited by these con artists and these liars who are lying about the state of this game. They're lying about like the game's history, saying, oh, this game wasn't too bad, it was just the loot boxes that ruined it. Or, oh, don't worry guys, this game was like redeemed, it's good now. Or like, oh, if we play this really shitty game, Lucasfilm will make a new Battlefront 2 game in 2 years. Mind you, this game is like 8 years old or something like that now. It's been 8 years. They had multiple opportunities to make a Battlefront 3, and they never did. And hell, I'm not getting any younger. Like, I'm 24 years old now, and if they announce like a Battlefield game or Battlefront game in 2027, I'll be like 26 years old. I'll be close to my 30s. So, you know, then that's the thing. Like, I feel like that they had their shot of making the ultimate like Star Wars game, and they chose not to. EA spitefully cut ties with the Battlefront community by killing this game, by refusing to make a third game. They basically sent a message saying, we do not respect you, we do not care about you. You get a shitty like Squadrons game and like single player Star Wars games, and then that's it. This is all you get. And that's really all she wrote, man. Actman is a loser. He's a corporate douchebag loser who puts over these con artists companies who want to scam consumers, and he himself scams his fucking audience by basically putting out misinformation. What he talked about with this game, saying that this game was redeemed because, oh, it costs less money in a fucking store. Misinformation, in my opinion. I think that's just, he basically fucking lied about this game. Him like putting over this game and saying the first game sucked when he never even talked about what made this game good to begin with. So how can he ever say that the first game was bad when his definition of this game being good was that it's on fucking sale and that more people are playing it? It's like, it's a joke, dude. But I basically said everything I needed to say. Will Battlefront 3 ever happen? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if I really want Battlefront 3 to happen at this point. Just because it's been so long, we've been mistreated by EA and DICE and Lucasfilm for so long. This is a dead franchise as well. This franchise has been run into the ground by Disney and Lucasfilm. This game has so many controversies and so much like just shit that's happened over the years. And for these YouTubers to basically ignore that any of that happened, to say like this game has been redeemed, to say that this game is good, to say that this game is worth playing, and that you should play this game because like if you play this game, Battlefront 3 will come out. It's sickening to me. It really is. But it's really all I have to really say on the topic. I think that this Battlefront 2 resurgence thing will die down. And if Battlefront 3 is like announced in 2 years, like cool. But if it's not, it just proves my point that like all those people do not care about you. They don't respect you. They just wanted to scam you. They couldn't scam you. They got mad and they refused ever to make a game ever again. And then that's it. So this whole thing of you saying, well, this is the most profitable thing ever. No, dude, they don't see it that way. They only like these aren't real game developers. They are con artists. They want to scam you. They're criminals. They don't act like real fucking developers, man. So I will fundamentally disagree with the notion that like, oh, if they make a good game, they can make a bunch of money. But no, like these EA itself created the concept of bad games sell more than good games. You could see that philosophy in this game itself. You could see the greed. You could see the laziness. You could see all of the fundamental flaws that plague that company and Lucasfilm and all these other fucking idiots. You could see it bleeding into this game, clear as fucking day. You would have to be blind not to see it. But a lot of like these fanboys and a lot of these like kids, like they don't fucking understand that shit, man. They might have picked up this game like after all the controversy and they never like knew about all this bullshit. So that's really all I have to say about this game. I've been ranting and raving for like minutes and minutes and minutes on end, and I think I've gotten my point across. So I'll probably make more Battlefront videos in the future. I mostly was just playing just for something to happen like in the background. I mostly just wanted to talk about this because this has been on my mind for a few days now, and I think something really needed to be said about it. About like the clickbait bullshit, the community being taken advantage of, EA not caring about us. Like somebody needs to say the truth. And I think that's what this community needs. This community needs to see this game for what it truly is, what it actually represents, and how we've been taking advantage of, and how we deserve better than to get scammed by some fucking schmuck cocksucker who says, oh yeah, the game is good because it costs us money. No, dude, shut the fuck up. Anyway, I've ranted for too long, so I plan to make more videos in the future, so look forward to that. Anyway, I'm gonna fuck off now, so see you nerds later.